Hi, everyone. Good morning. Today we're joined by Mary Helen Stricklin, Nursing Director for Palliative Care here at Intermountain Healthcare. Today we're going to be talking about advanced care planning and advanced directives. Before we get into that, I just want to let you know what palliative care is. Palliative care is medical care for people with life-threatening illnesses that provides comfort to the mind, body, and spirit through symptom management, clarifying goals of care, and advanced care planning. April 16th is also National Healthcare Decision Day, which was started to help individuals understand the importance of preparation and take the time to actually complete these advanced directives. Mary Helen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So first, I'd like to start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you do here at Intermountain Healthcare.
Well, I've been a registered nurse for over 40 years, and I've had the good fortune of working for Intermountain Healthcare for about 22 years. And in that time, I have served in many different capacities. And at this time, I really get a big involvement in how to improve patient care for those people with serious illness, just like you described for palliative care. So that's my most current thing I do.
And what is your favorite part about what you do every day?
I think helping people to really know that they're not alone and that their wishes and what they want and how to be supported with quality of life is really important, and that there are people that are trained and can really help them so that we can reduce suffering and help people move in that direction, even with chronic serious illness, to have the quality of life to the best that they can.
That's great to hear. It's nice to hear that people really take an interest in their position and their role, specifically this. So I want to get into more of what is advanced care planning if someone's never heard of it before, and why should patients and families consider this process when they're looking at different medical information and backgrounds?
Great question. It's really, think of it like a thoughtful consideration. It's a process that you go through, thinking about how you feel and what you might want and what matters most to you, and how that translates into healthcare decisions you might need to make in the future. And then in this process of advanced care planning, it's sharing your wishes with everyone, your family, agents, people that can make decisions for you, and your healthcare team, so we're all on the same page going in the same direction. And then we record it on a document called an advanced directive, so people will know. And it ultimately provides us with peace of mind because we're prepared.
Is there any starting age that someone should start considering advanced care planning? Is there too early in your life to start looking at these documents, or what do you recommend?
No, it's never too early. So anybody over the age of 18 should have an advanced directive. They should be doing advanced care planning and thinking about it, because we never know when driving to work today, you may have an accident that puts you in the hospital and you can't speak for yourself. So who's going to speak for you? What matters most to you? Thinking about it. So oftentimes we hear the most from people that it's too early, it's not for me, right? And so it's really important to understand that, it's never too early. And most of the time we think it's until it's too late, we don't think about it.
You mentioned advanced directives as this piece of advanced care planning. Can you explain what the differences are between those two?
Happy to. So an advanced directive is a legal document that really expresses your wishes, and it becomes legal when it is signed by the individual and is witnessed. In the state of Utah, every state has a little bit different names that they might be using for these legal documents. In the state of Utah, it's called an advanced directive, and it combines a medical power of attorney, someone that can make medical decisions for you, and the content of maybe what your wishes are, things that you're interested in. Other terms people may be familiar with are like a living will. And when we think about what is needed in Utah in order for that directive to be legal, it can be done without an attorney. You can do it yourself, but it does need to be witnessed. And the witness is also important, that the witness is over 18 years of age and they're not related to you in the sense of your estate or anything like that. And so just think about it. It's easy. Usually one of your neighbors or one of your friends, somebody like that, can just be your witness. And they're just witnessing your signature on a document. That's all they're witnessing. And when you do that, the document's legal. It's really important also to underscore here and really think about what an advance directive does. It's a document that's only used if you cannot make decisions for yourself. The whole time that you're, functioning and working and talking and, providing your own direction, these documents only comes into play is if you are unable or incapable of making your own decisions, talking for yourself. And that's why it's really important, because the healthcare agent, your surrogate, your alternative that can speak for you, that's named in the advance directive, has the ability to speak for you when you cannot.
And how do doctors and medical staff kind of fall into this advance directive? Do they look at this as well? You mentioned that you have kind of this person who, if you're unable to speak for yourself, kind of helps out with that. What is the role of a doctor and medical staff with this as well?
Great question. In healthcare, you come seeking as a person because you're hurt or you have something wrong with you. You come to a hospital, come to a doctor. Those individuals that help you get to your goal of getting healthier, better, fixed when you're broken, anything like that, they're all very interested in understanding what matters most to you. What are you seeking? What would you want in your care? And so when you're not able to speak for yourself and you came in, unassisted by somebody, then these documents are very helpful to the whole healthcare team to be able to know you. They know exactly how to contact who it is to contact in case you can't speak for yourself. They know how to get the person with their cell phone number, where they live, who's important. And so the documents are very relevant. Without the documents being drafted and completed, and then inside our medical record, we wouldn't have any way of knowing who to call or what's the best way to do that. So it's very relevant.
And it seems like it can definitely help, especially like you said, when you're unable to kind of speak for yourself. So that's great to hear that there's this tool that exists that can help us become healthier potentially with the help of what we've decided. I want you to also, I want to make this a little bit more approachable or realistic for someone who's watching. Like you said, some people think you're too young to start something at 18 or however old you decide to do this. Can you provide us an example of advanced care planning in action that you've seen?
Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons I'm passionate about this. I speak about it and I work in it for a number of years, is because of the trauma that we see to families waiting in the waiting rooms when they're now faced with making decisions and there's never been a discussion and I don't know what mom wants. And probably the best example would be when it works really well. So I can tell you about a time when I was involved with a woman, and she was so excited to think about the fact that, maybe I really need to take care of this. Her husband was always the person that would be there for her if she couldn't, do things for herself. And he had a deteriorating condition. So she was concerned about how he would be at decision making down the road. And she was also concerned that maybe her family, her kids, wouldn't understand. We did conversations together and learned what mattered most to her, what was very relevant, what she wanted in her healthcare decisions, had a conversation with her husband, and then we were able to put all the sons on the phone, and everybody understood her wishes and why she chose an alternative, so that not only it was her husband, but there was an alternative agent chosen in case there needed to be a second person. And and everybody was happy. It was like really good. And the lady says to me at the end of the conversation, she goes, I feel so at peace. She goes, this is so good. Everybody knows, everybody's okay with it. Nobody's mad at anybody. And what was really shocking to us was 72 hours later, that woman had a major health event. And it put her in an intensive care unit in a hospital, and every single person knew what she wanted, and that being on life support was not what she wanted. And they were all peaceful. They were upset. They were shocked. It happened out of nowhere. No one thought it was going to happen. And now Mom's gone. But in the midst of that, her husband and her son said to me, oh my goodness, I can't imagine what this would have been like if earlier this week we hadn't completed this work. And it was just, they were so grateful and so appreciative because they had the peace of mind. They knew exactly what to do. They knew exactly what she wanted. And it was just an example of this at its best.
It sounds like it probably made their experience, even with how terrible it was, into a better experience for them, as opposed to, like you said, not knowing the wishes. So it seems like this is something very important, and the timing of that is really interesting. Like you said, you never know. So that's a really great story. I would love to know, what are some common things you hear from patients or misconceptions you hear from patients about advanced care planning?
Besides the phrase I hear all the time that it's too early until it's too late. I think oftentimes in our society and in our culture, we're afraid to talk about death. We're afraid to talk about, the inevitability that might happen with an accident. And so we avoid it. But really, the people around us would like more information. I hear all the time when I say, oh yeah, I went to my attorney, I have my estate all done, and I have my advance directive done. And I said, okay, where is it? And they go, it's in my foot locker, or it's in my, safety deposit box. And I go, does anyone know what's there? And they go, no. And I go, everybody needs to know about it. And it's not like the contents of your will. It's about what matters most and how can we act on it. So when I hear people say to me quite often, oh, my daughter will just know. And then you talk to the doctor's daughter, the daughter says, she's never told me, I have no idea. So when we can move into the idea of clear communication and clear understanding so that everyone understands, then when you're under stress, like decisions need to happen in crisis, you're prepared and it's less traumatic and it's better for everyone. But so often I hear, oh, I don't need it. My daughter-in-law may know. I don't need it because my husband will know what to do, or whatever it might be. So just think long and hard. I remember speaking about this in public one time, and I was in a large community meeting. And I was talking about the fact that every state is different in their laws. And you might have a legal alternative or not. So in the state of Utah, if you don't draft any documents, there is an order that you're going to go, like your spouse gets to make a decision or your adult children get to make a decision. It goes in a certain order. In some states, like if you're in Wisconsin, you have to go to the courts and a judge makes the decision because there's no alternative if you did not prepare. And when I was sharing this, someone had the aha that they didn't really get their divorce paperwork completely done, and they did not have their advance directive, and they were quite upset, thinking that their ex was going to have decision rights over them. And the lady says to me, where's the paper? I need to sign right now. So when we don't pay attention, when people's cell phone numbers change, when they move, when their conditions change, like divorce, it matters that we pay attention. These documents should be living. They're normal. They're just part of being prepared, like a 72-hour emergency kit in your house. So we recommend that every year people bring them out, review them every year. Pick a day, like on your birthday or Christmas, or the family gathered at Thanksgiving dinner and everybody talks about it. Make it normal. Make it just part of everything that we do every day. And then, oh yeah, I didn't realize that my son's cell phone changed again for the 9th time this week. And accurate information is there if you ever need it. You may never need it, but if you do, likelihood will be that you will need it at some point in your life, even if it's temporary. I've had people come to the hospital, for instance, and they had pneumonia really bad for 3 days, and for 3 days they were out of it. They didn't know who they were, where they were. Somebody had to step in for 3 days to make a decision. So it's not just about end of life. It's just about being prepared.
That's really great to hear all these different examples of what you can do with an advanced directive. You mentioned to go over this every year with your family or whoever often you're going to do it. Where can the public actually go to get more information about advanced care planning? Do we have resources that people can look at? Where is like this guide of how I actually do this?
Mm-hmm. Well, Intermountain Healthcare has a public website on their .org website, and I'm sure it's going to be listed for you. And that's a good place to start. The National Healthcare Decision Day also has a web page that speaks in general around all over the nation, because this work is very important. And we've learned that so amazingly during the pandemic, that we saw examples after examples when you didn't think that something like COVID would put you in the hospital, and then what is it that you want, or how are you making decisions? So in light of what we've just been doing with the pandemic and emergency preparedness, it'd be awesome if you could take a look, reach out. There's a number of ways to reach out and get information, and most of that is linked right at our webpage if you want to go there. And we would love to hear from the public to see if there's more. You'll be hearing more opportunities, as every year, the same day on April 16th, we're going to be talking about this. It's a national piece. It's not going away, and we're hoping that you can find the information you need there.
And that link for everyone, just so they have it, I did just put it in the chat, but it is intermountainhealthcare.org/health-information/advance-directive. And again, it's listed in the comments and also the description of the Facebook Live. Mary Helen, is there anything else you want people to know about advanced care planning or anything that goes into this process?
I think I invite you that if you already have your advanced directives done, perhaps you did them earlier, perhaps you did them with an attorney or somebody else, and we don't have them on file, I would please encourage you, share them with your doctor when you go to your primary care doctor. Send it into the hospitals that are closest to you that you might be admitted to for some reason. There's information on our website on how to submit your documents. It's very easy, how to just send them an email or fax or mail them to us. But sharing, it's really important to share. Talk to your family and make it normal, but include us, and there's easy ways to get that information in. And if you haven't looked at your directive in a while, pause and just take the time between now and April 16th, when it's National Healthcare Decision Day, and then be prepared, because then you can have the peace of mind and you can do it for your family. Please consider that for your family, because they're the ones that are there in the shadows of the crisis, inside those waiting rooms, having to make decisions. So if not for yourself, think about your family and what matters most to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Mary Helen, for that great information. And again, if you're interested in finding out more, the website is listed in the description of this Facebook Live, as well as the comments. Also, again, April 16th is National Healthcare Decision Day, so make sure you check out those resources to see what you need to update and kind of what you can learn from this process. Mary Helen, thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks. You are all